Kemp Remillard. I'm an Illustrator concept artist. So I've worked predominantly in video games and a little bit of movies over the last decade or so. And yeah, now I'm Illustrator. I did the Force Awakens book, and I also did some new editions for the Complete Locations book, which will be coming out in October.
And I'm Jason Fry, a longtime Star Wars author. I think I'm up to more than 30 books and short stories by now. Thank you. Including wrote incredible cross sections with Kemp, and we also worked together on the new material for Complete Locations in October.
As an illustrator, what would you say is kind of the hardest aspect of replicating the used future look of Star Wars?
It's not hard. It's a methodical process. I mean, I think getting the shape language correct and finding and using shapes that are often repeated. The look of the tech is established by the model makers. So replicating that is kind of the task. Making it look used is actually the fun part, because I paint everything in Photoshop, and that's when you're talking about getting out your textured dirt brushes and stuff, and that's really when the stuff starts to come alive. Like I'll place everything in and get it all worked out, and it looks way too squeaky clean. And then once I start adding dirt to it, that's actually the really fun part. So,
as a writer, I have an easier job with that because I can just use words. But that was actually a really fun thing. One thing we talked about a lot is the Millennium Falcon. Like when we saw really early with the Millennium Falcon that Chewie has this bunk where he recuperates, and I know that ship really well, and I know there's no bunk there in the earlier movies. But that turned out actually to be really a great thing, because makes you then think, well, all right, the Falcon's been through all these changes, it's now going to be through more of them. So where did the bunk come from? And that's the great thing about Star Wars. It's like you say, a used universe, and so every object has a story, etc. So just using words, I was able to go through and annotate parts of the Falcon and say, this owner added this, or this isn't quite working right, and just give a sense of the history of this ship, and then let the reader look at all of Kemp's cool stuff and think, wow, all that stuff has a story too.
Okay, and the collaborative process between the two of you, what is that like? What are some of the challenges or things that you may face?
One thing you keep in mind with particularly things like the Falcon or the new TIE fighters, etc., is we were able to build on a lot of work already. We already knew, here's the basic TIE fighter, here's how it works, and then we were building on top of that. But from there, we found, to our relief, having not known each other before vehicles, that we worked really well together. We were both really open to, what do you think this is, or would this be cool, etc. And that wasn't a guarantee, so we both feel very lucky about that.
Yeah, we quickly found out that we had a really good chemistry, and we had a really good collaborative kind of back and forth. I really liked all his ideas, and you didn't hate mine, so that was a victory for me. And it just worked, it helps that we're both fans, and it helps that we're both cool guys too.
No, it really is. It's Star Wars. It's pinch yourself stuff. Even when you've got a problem or something you're working out, you're getting to write and draw Star Wars, and it's just amazing.
Yeah.
Are there any projects that you want to do together in the future?
Well, we're working on Locations together. That comes out in October. We'll see from there. I think we both know we're a good team, and they do too. So we'll see what comes about.
And last question: favorite Star Wars movie?
It's Jedi. Yeah, it's Jedi.
Does it sometimes change for you? Because it looked like you were waiting for a while. You're thinking.
Yeah, it changes a little bit. I really like the first three. They all feel like the same movie to me. Actually, it's one big movie to me. because I grew up with all three of them always playing all the time, but you know, like one of the biggest scenes for me and the biggest thrills is that Battle of Endor scene. Like they're all when all the rebels line up to make the jump, and then they drop out of hyperspace, and there's this like giant battle they weren't anticipating. That is like it's like the most like heart pounding sequence in the whole movies for me. Yeah.
So?
Well, I'm 47, so Empire Strikes Back. You know, nobody's ever going to win very much money on that one if they know I'm 47. But Kemp said something that rings true for me, is that, you know, increasingly there are so many entry points into Star Wars, whether it's the prequels, whether it's the originals, whether it's Episode 7, whether it's Rebels. I was just thinking, I was walking down the hall coming back in here, and, you know, I passed a Lando, a Rey, a Darth Bane, you know, a Sabine, and you know, and they're all together and having the time of their lives, and that's great. That's the way it should be.
Excellent. Cheers. Thanks for the interview, guys.
All right.